of non-billing, where somebody is billing and not delivering the revenue. You must acknowledge that also happens. It's a supply issue. Somebody could be billing because look at your wage bill component, and I've looked at it. That wage bill is about 65%, which is about double what WASREB recommends. But if you look at it, the personnel infrastructure there is huge, right? So it doesn't make any sense to just blame the illegal connection. There is a possibility that collection also is not being done properly, or is being done and not delivered. I'm not saying that it happens, but I think it's a possibility that you also need to look at that demand-supply problem.
Thank you so much again, through the chairman. It's not an exchange, Your Honor.
Then again,
what I want to put across our system, billing system, you cannot tamper with data. The way we read the meters, you can't tamper with data. We use the telephones to read the meter, and it sends the data direct to the server. There is no human intervention. Collection, likewise, we don't carry cash in our company. We don't touch cash. It's you to go and pay to the bank, to our accounts. Within the company, we don't deal with cash at all. So issues of corruption on payments cannot arise unless you, as a customer, bribes our staff and tell him, don't disconnect me. But we will come there.
But it will not leave the system.
Yes, the money will not leave the system.
Leave the system.
Okay. Are we together there? The money will not percolate out of the system.
okay, Amida.
So, I recall, CEO, the non-revenue of 51% was mentioned. So then I was just wondering, the country is looking into getting into more volumes of water, into the network. But then at 51%, is it that, like putting water into a leaking bucket?
The higher the volume, the less the non-revenue. Some of what I explained was a lot of the water is not billed because of low volume.
Yes.
So if it's low volume and you're showing them a bottle, water will pass without moving the
Turbines.
The turbines. That is a possibility. Actually, that happens. But when you're full bore, meaning your pipes are completely full, you can even employ now what we call the SCADA technology in some areas, and the SCADA will be able to tell us, and I can see from my phone, Hapa California, there's been an intervention on the water pipe, or somebody has cut off water in Nangata. Using that SCADA technology, but you cannot implement it with low pressure. Yeah, you'll have wasted a lot of, and it's quite expensive. So, save for where we have completely old pipes, which more of it will be leaking, increased volumes actually reduce non-revenue. If you look at Singapore's non-revenue is what, 8%. They completely change the infrastructure every so often. They're able to do it. Addis Ababa is at 37%. London is at 28%. Though London still also has very old piping, but they have the ability to do that resheathing that we're talking about, and they do it very often in their barrows.
Senator Mboku.
Report is very good.
So, Governor, I was just wondering, since the biggest problem we have in the city is water, some neighboring counties of US are doing very well in on-source revenue. If you decided that you are going to work on on-source revenue for just 2 years, and all that money goes to maybe improving the water infrastructure network, you would be remembered as the governor who really solved the problem of water in Nairobi.
Yes, Senator, when you're away, I explained to them what we are doing to solve the problem of water, where the shortage will actually be resolved in a matter of 2 years. The deficit, already we've increased 140 million liters per day and your colleague next to you said he is a recipient, that for the last 20 years he's lived in Karen, now is when he's getting water, for the last 1.5 years. Of course, we are working on on-source. I don't think anyone is performing better than us on on-source revenue in terms of the percentage increment. No, last year I raised 12.5 billion, which was the highest in the history of devolution. This year that has ended in June, just a few weeks ago, we have hit 13.8 billion shillings as a county government. It has never been achieved. And every year we're having that increase. In fact, now that we've passed some legislation like the regularization of unauthorized developments, this year I aim to get 20 billion. And I know it is possible because that legislation is what held us back. People who've built buildings, especially in Eastlands, in these old schemes, without having gotten authorization, we now have to regularize what they've done. That alone can get us to 20B, And of course, as that comes in, we'll then be able to apply it in the right place. When I see this issue of wage bill being unsustainable, I completely disagree. The PFM ratios should not apply the same across the country. A city like Nairobi is a service city. You want to see people reading your meters. You want people sweeping the streets every day. You need people serving you in hospitals with a population of 7 million. How many nurses? I think even our wage bill is too low in terms of the numbers. The reason why wage bill looks high is because of low revenue. So your denominator is shrunk. I was with the mayor of Paris recently. Her city is a city of 2 million people. She has 53,000 staff. Nairobi, a city of 7 million people, has 19,000 staff. Paris, a city of 2 million people, has revenue, or rather their budget is around, if I convert 9 billion euros, should come to 1.3 trillion for Paris alone. Nairobi is 40 billion shillings. Yet we want Paris quality, and people are not paying their rates. So I'll come to you to request you guys to help us raise that revenue. Nairobi, we can get to 63 billion shillings if everyone just paid their rates, and their rates are spread out in installments over a year. But you find very, very big people in very well-to-do estates are not paying their rates. I published their names, and you saw us even going to the Freemasons and whatnot. Now we have gone to court because the Rating Act allows us. If everyone just paid their fair share, the city would be clean, the streets would be swept, there'd be medicine in all our hospitals. But you see, people don't want to pay, yet they're the quick ones to complain. Recently, Chair, as I conclude, we had issues with housing. People staying in county houses for years without paying. You find somebody staying in a house in Woodley. The rent is 17,000 only. That is a house that is 3 bedrooms on half an acre. Commercially, it would be 200,000 shillings, But you find that person has not paid for 10 years because of being protected politically. So if everyone did our part, we would be able to reduce this non-revenue water, and the city would completely, and it's unfair for you to live in Lavington on your 1 acre, or for you to live in Runda on half an acre. You're driving your vehicle, you're not paying your rates, yet Mama Mboga who comes to town every day is paying her 100 shillings, or she's paying her 50 shillings. It is completely unequitable for us to move on like that. So we want to do a campaign to explain to Nairobians that you will get, the services you get are from what you are able to pay the city. And because we have all the plans, I want to do all the roads, I want to build all the schools, but money is the problem. Otherwise we'll be able to solve that. Though finally what would help us, Chair, is allowing counties after a certain assessment, certain county governments can actually be able to enter the market, put in bonds, whether it's a green bond, without the limitation at PFM. The limitation there makes that if I'm to raise today a bond for Nairobi, I would only get maybe 2 billion, Yet Nairobi, we know every year, equitable share will not go below 20B. I have raised on-source revenue to around 13.8B for my city. So if I discount, if I get the present value of the next 10, 20 years, I can get 500 billion today to sort out the big challenges of such a city. So these are discussions the Senate needs to have, you know, on financing of cities. As we move towards now moving our rates into improved site value. Nairobi is the only capital in the world of its size that charges you rates based on an improved site value. Meaning, half an acre in Kileleshwa is paying the same as its next door neighbor with 100 houses and 100 water connections and 100 people using our roads. We must start changing that approach towards financing our city. That is how you will solve. Otherwise, no matter what you do, you will not sort out the problems of Nairobi without rejigging how you finance it.
Now, while you are on the issue of financing the city, I know you are a strong proponent of Nairobi being a county.
Yes.
Like the others. But from the statistics the clerk is showing me,
Yeah.
Cities which are metropolitan, which are being managed as metropolitan authority, have a lower non-revenue water.
I don't know the correlation.
Look at cities like Addis, you look at cities like London and the others.
No, London is a city. London, Sadiq Khan is elected by the people directly. I was with him I deputized him at C40 cities as the mayor of London and Nairobi, which is a network of 100 cities. There is no direct correlation. What you have you're talking about possibly cities that do not have as much democracy. Like Addis. Addis, they determine what they want to do, where they want to do. If they want your building, they move you. Because the land is all owned by the national government. The federal government owns all the property. If I want today to put a pipeline of water in Nairobi, I have to negotiate with people, I have to buy property. But Kigali, they will just say, this is the line you want to go, and they go. You know, if you go today to Friendship Park in that Addis Ababa, you find a place that was an entire, it was a messed up place, you know. But the city just decided, if you're here and you're building, move out. But I have to negotiate with people. I'm telling people, paint your buildings in the city. And they're like, why should we paint? Until I take action on one or two. So we have a lot of democracy, you know, but it can work.
Yeah. The last one, and then we
yes,
move to the
because
last
my
one.
governor is here today, and this was actually, it's been very, I mean, I've not been understanding Gava. I lived in a city council house, and within a month or two, if you know that you haven't paid your rent, you're chucked out. There's eviction, forcefully eviction. Na vitu zako zinachukuliwa, they are even taken to this other place in Dagoretti. But then why would it take so long, like 9 months, 10 months, you know, for any person, I mean, for them not to pay rent? Then number two, when you go to Ziwani and Jerry and, you know, those sites, by the way, I lived in these lands. I love Eastlands. I've never understood why they would even have makeshifts, whatever. And it's like, that is my territory. All them, you know, wamejijengea wenyewe. Extensions. So that I would not understand, because then what is it going to take you for you to, you know, to resolve those issues? Na kila mtu ajue anakaa kwa nyumba yake.
I agree with you. The problem was political interference over the last 10 or so years. We've had leadership that is afraid to make tough decisions. So people would stay with arrears for all that time, not pay, bring their relatives, increase you know, the extensions, and nothing be done. The last 2 months, I have increased revenue from houses by 250%, just by enforcing. We've had to do evictions. We've had to, and that has happened in Karioko, in that same Woodley, in Jericho. And some people, it takes them to see their neighbor being evicted for them to pay. Unfortunately. Today, if you go to Jamhuri Estate, there is no single area. Everyone is up to date as we speak. If you go to Makadara, in all those estates, but people are now paying. And we're seeing, that's why we even were able to hit that record. So I think it's just political interference. Those days the councillors or the MCAs would say, no, leave my people, they don't. But I've refused that. Everybody must pay their fair share. And now the place I'm going to in this financial year with the regularization is on land rates. This year, we're on land rates like white on rice. People must pay their fair share. We're the only city or other county that has an up-to-date, so to speak, valuation role. When we got into office, we used that immediate goodwill to engage with the Chief Justice to set up the valuation court that validated our 2019 valuation roll. All other counties are in the 1980s valuation roll for their rates. You know, so that's why we have a challenge with evolution. Now we're going to do our 2026 valuation roll that will be based on improved site value. The value of your house must determine how much rate you pay, because it also determines the utilities that you're using in that house. You cannot have somebody in Githogoro paying the same as Runda and you're next door to each other. You know, it cannot be. If you go to most cities globally, the biggest revenue source for urban areas is property taxes, you know. But we're scratching the surface as Kenya. Let me give you just one last example. I was with a friend. I'm in a network of cities. We're in a Harvard program, 40 of us. I'm the one from Africa. And so part of it, we were going through what is our subject that you want to work on. So this mayor tells me that she's very upset that she wants to do a stadium of $800 million, and her revenue is $800 million. So how does she? So I wonder, oh wow, that is a lot. $800 million is a lot of money. Do you know her city? I asked her, what is the population of your city? 150,000. A city of 150,000 people that has a budget of $800 million doing such things. Yet a city of 7 million people is scratching the surface because we just want to be politically expedient, you know. So these tough decisions must be made for our city to be able to finance. Once you finance it, you know, sometimes I do a small section. The other day on Moi Avenue Service Lane, you know, we just redid the walkways, put in the new bins, put in lights, and you can see people are excited and they're happy about it. That should be the minimum standard across the city. It can be done if we sort out the financing aspect in our capital. So thank you, Chair, for that.
Thank you very much. I think media, you have gotten more than you needed.
I didn't know good.
From water to housing to land, so many things.
To
let's go to query on unsustainable wage bill.
Yes, which is what I was answering.
Yeah, but let's just go on
I'll
record.
read the record, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe the auditor.
Thank you, Chair. Unsustainable wage bill, the statement of profit or loss and